Bonjour mes amis, et bienvenue au Pendu dans le Cercle de Lune. Hello friends, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know from my attempt at a French introduction to this video that this is my series in which I use Tarot de Marseille adjacent, or antique Italian decks to help me unpack a central message from my weekly larger spread. And this year, I'm doing a deep dive into the Thoth system. So this year, I'm doing Thoth-based spreads for my weekly reading. And they're big spreads, so getting a central message is often very, very helpful. And just in case you have not seen this week's larger video, I highly recommend going to see it first. And you can watch that video in bits and pieces. It's okay to do that, just to let you know. And I'll put a link up here for you to hop on over and take a look at that spread in case you haven't seen it. If you have seen it and you saw it in bits and pieces and you'd like a quick recap before we dive into this video, let me tell you that the title for that video again was Fear of Failure. And I chose that title because that was the last card of the larger spread before we moved into the two advice cards from the I Ching. And the entire spread seemed to be, I want this, but I'm thinking of this, and there's there's a mental emotional conflict going on within me. And that mental emotional conflict, I think it was leading us towards our fear of failure. The desire for success, but our thoughts are somewhere else. Our thoughts are torn apart, or our thoughts are bringing us in a direction that we don't want to go in. So that's the advice. And the final advice that we got was enjoy your abundance, but get ready to take a step sideways or back when things start coming at us, because this is not the time to engage in fighting for or against or even with anything else. It's time for retreat if something is coming at us. Otherwise, keep moving forward and enjoy the abundance. Right? That's how we move through our fear of failure, probably. Then we have this week's spread. So, let me show you this week's spread. You're going to see a couple of pictures, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But first, I'll show you the question I ask every week. What is the central message of this week's 5 elemental spread? And then I'll show you the pictures, and then we'll talk about them. Okay? Are you ready? Here we go. So, friends, you saw 2 pictures, right? You saw a spread of 3 cards with an oracle card below. And then suddenly you saw that 3-card spread explode into 7, count them, 7 cards with an additional same oracle card below. You might be thinking, what the ever-loving F did he do? Let me tell you. So every week I try to do a 3-card spread to get a central message, but I read Tarot de Marseille in a fusion style, you might say. Yeah, I read Tarot de Marseille in a fusion style. So I have meanings for the cards that I have in my brain, and I remember those things, and I look at the pictures, and I look at line of sight, and I look at ways that things could be balancing out or indications of things that are pointing to other things, and then, so. I have a hodgepodge way of reading Tarot de Marseille. And you saw, the very first spread that I got was the Popes, the 5 of Swords, and the King of Coins. Perfectly valid 3-card spread. Why would I want to do anything else? Well, Okay, so what I saw was that that central card, the Five of Swords, was both splitting and joining the two figures of the Popes and the King of Pentacles. And so that would make an interesting short reading. But curiosity got the best of me. The king is not looking at the high priestess, and the high priestess is not looking at the king. If those two cards had been reversed, I would have said, okay, yeah, end of story, those three cards. But they're both looking in opposite directions. So, what's on the mind of the king of coins? I wanted to know that. So I pulled another card, and I got the Four of Swords. And I thought, okay, good, full stop. Full stop for that. The king of coins has the Four of Swords on his, her, their mind. What's on the Popes's mind? So I pulled a card. Got the Knight of Cups. Beautiful card, but the Knight of Cups is not only looking, is riding off in that same direction. So what is the Knight of Swords riding off? I'm sorry, Knight of Cups riding off towards? Well, the Knight of Cups is riding off towards, I pulled another card, the Star. Could have stopped there. But you know what they say, in for a penny, in for a pound? Well, the figure on the Star card is also looking off in the same direction. So I thought, okay, do it. Just pull one more card. And I pulled out the Ace of Coins. I said, okay, yes, that's a period. That is a full stop. And then I looked back and I thought, oh my God, we've got a spread of 7 cards here. 8 if you count the Oracle card. Now the cards, the deck, what do you think of this deck? It might be a little difficult to see in the photo. It's a beautiful deck. It's a facsimile deck created by Il Meneghello. And I'll have a link to Il Meneghello's site in the description box below. But this is called Tarocco Marieglia Svizzero, which translates in Italian to, in English, the Swiss Marseille Tarot. Yeah, so it's a Swiss Marseille deck produced in and through Italy with an Italian name. It's a gorgeous deck, and it's definitely a Swiss deck. It's we can see it in the swords cards, how the handles and the blades of each one of the swords is different. There's like a handle part and there's a sharp part at the other end. It's kind of cool. Unfortunately, we don't have any wands in this spread, but the wands of the Swiss Tarot de Marseille are really interesting. They look more refined, you might say, than the French version. There are a couple of other elements that would have been really interesting to have seen in this spread, but they're not here. We see, I'm not going to pull any more cards for this spread just so I can show you them. These 7 cards are plenty. So now you're wondering, how the heck are we going to read this spread? Well, we're going to read it from the beginning. We'll read it from the central 3, well, they're not really central, but the beginning 3 cards of the Papes, the Five of Swords, and the King of Coins. And let's start off with the Papes, because that was the first card I pulled. Now, the Papes, the Popes, who is she? She is the woman or the person of self-knowledge, of self-development. The Popes is the one who learns about herself. You see her, she's got an open book on her lap, and she's a little bit concealed. She's in her own private space. She's got that curtain behind her, right? She's got the papal or the bishopric crown on her, so she's in the garments and the symbols of the church, of spirituality, of religion. And she's looking within. She learns about herself. She studies herself. She also just plain old studies. And she has feminine wisdom, as opposed to the Pope, who would have more, I'm sorry, I don't want to say feminine. Female style wisdom, the receptive style of wisdom. Yeah, the wisdom that is open to receiving and transmuting into wisdom. It's also the card for meditation, just saying. there are also mysteries here. Something hidden in the book has the potential of being revealed. So this is the human who has access to the right side of the brain of creativity, of intuition, of holistic knowledge, of receptivity and the wisdom that it can generate. Self-knowledge, self-development, and study and learning. She is paired with the King of Coins. And where is my King of Coins? There he is. I pulled him out already. The King of Coins, looking in the other direction, but a very dignified looking gentleman, gentlewoman, gentle person, because whatever kind of body we inhabit, we are all the King of Coins. Yeah, whether we're in a male body, a female body, a trans body, a cis body, an intersex body, whatever, we all have the King of Coins within each of us. And the King of Coins is the King of abundance, prosperity, and security and success. Security and success. Security and success. I want to triple emphasize that: security and success. The King of Coins is cautious because, security, but also optimistic and has a vision for the direction the king wants to go. So the king looks for new possibilities and is still able to maintain the current assets. So the king is able to develop, to grow, but not by completely leaving what they have developed or created behind. Maintain what is and create the new. Maintain what is and create the new with stability, prosperity, abundance, cautiously optimistic, and secure. That's what the King of Coins is to me. So we have these two together, right? Learning about self, learning about a lot of stuff. Also, the intuitive, the receptive of mysteries, receptive of that which is hidden from within, and the one focused on the material realm of doing and working and creating cautiously, optimistically, with focus on security and a feeling of security, manifesting and maintaining at the same time. These two are joined by a very interesting card, the Five of Swords. And maybe you're saying, no, the Five of Swords is splitting them apart. And I think there's the potential of that as well. So we have the potential of this card either joining or splitting, I think. And it depends on how we approach this card. Now, the Five of Swords is the breaking out of the box of the Four of Swords. Right? Thinking outside of the box. Being open-minded and curious. New points of view, new ideas are able to come in. We welcome them and we move in the direction of them. We resume study after our feeling of accomplishment of the Four of Swords. We discover new ways of viewing the world as well. And what am I trying to do? I'm trying to do this. That Five of Swords could either join the King of Coins and the Papess or split them apart. It could split them apart because it's breaking everything not everything, but a lot of perhaps what the King of Coins holds dear. But if the King of Coins is also, remember, the King of Coins is not conservative to the extent of not being open to the new. The King of Coins is open to the new in a cautious way. So if this new gets to be too frightening, perhaps the King of Coins would close it off and these two would split. But if the King of Coins is able to hold it together, this breakthrough, which would definitely entice and intrigue the papesse, would also draw the King of Coins together. But so what's on the King of Coins' mind? That might be the most important thing for us to consider right now. Will this help or will it hurt? Well, we got the Four of Swords. Beautiful card. You see that lush flower growing in the center of this very protective grouping of four swords. So the Four of Swords is taking caution, being careful and precise. Conservative analysis and systematic thinking. Thinking and acting practically. Things that the King of Coins is very interested in, right? Organized and stable intellect tends toward conservativeness. So if the King of Coins, which has this on his, her, their mind, is too attached to this, then I think the Five of Swords is going to be too disruptive and would split them apart. Split the King of Coins and the Queen, I'm sorry, the Queen, not the Queen, the papesse apart. If the King of Coins, let me bring him back up for you. If the King of Coins, you'll notice, is looking in the direction of, okay. Here we go. So, the King of Coins is looking in the direction of the Four of Swords, but his body is facing the Five of Swords. So there is that potential of, yes, this is what is on my mind, but I'm willing to move in the direction of this. Which one? Which one is this? Okay, I don't have a table in front of me. I'm willing to move in the direction of this. Even though this is what's on my mind, and this makes me comfortable, this makes me very happy, I'm able and willing to move in the direction of this. And if the king is able to, yes, I know this, I have this, and I can now move into here, which isn't like a total tower, it's not a tower moment that we're asking for, it's a moment of open your eyes and go and look for something new. Along with intuition, self-knowledge, self-development, meditation, and an exploration of mystery. Right? If we can do that, then we're good. So what is the papesse looking at? Well, the papesse, we start off looking at the Knight of Cups, which is interesting. It's a beautiful rendition of this Knight of Cups. That cup is pretty big for that knight on the fairly small horse, considering the size of the knight and the size of the cup being carried. Poor horse. But the horse doesn't look unhappy. The horse looks kind of excited to me. So who is the the Knight of Swords? Cups. What? I keep wanting to say, I'm sorry, so I'm keep messing up my suits. The Knight of Cups is following the heart and offering the heart at the same time. Yeah, the cup here, imagine the cup is the knight's heart. The knight is following the direction that the heart is leading like a compass, but also the knight is holding the cup out to whoever or whatever is in front of him, her, or them. So, yeah, the knight is riding in the direction, following the heart, and prepared and maybe even excited and hopeful for finding someone to whom he, she, or they are able to offer their hearts. No? Being open, sincere, simple-hearted. This is also love in action, yeah? The papesse is studying, is learning feminine wisdom, right? The mysteries within the book in order to put that love that the papesse carries within into action with the Knight of Cups. Like the popess does the studying, but if she just sits there in her chair, his chair, their chair, then that study is useless, is purposeless. Here with the knight, the papess is able to put that knowledge and love into action. And maybe do something for the benefit of others. Taking good actions, offering the heart and offering loving action for the benefit of others. So, what direction is the knight headed in? What direction is the popess headed as the knight, offering the heart, is headed in the direction of the star. Wonderful, right? The popess unclothed, not stripped naked as a pornographic statement, but unclothed of liberated from the garments of society. In her natural state, perhaps. There, feeding both, let's see in this card. Yes, in this card, she is feeding both the water and the earth with both of her vessels. And we see the bird of Thoth in the background. The ibis, maybe. That's how I see the bird. The star card is a card of purification and regeneration and healing. Yes, definitely. After the tower, the star is the recovery and opening to the direction, also following the North Star, right? Following our inner compass. Which is what the knight is doing with the heart, right? There's hope here, there's renewal, there's faith and success, and there are hope, renewal, faith, success, and good luck here. That's the direction that the knight is moving in. Showing and accepting ourselves as we are. Right? That being unclothed and vulnerable. That's part of carrying that heart and offering the heart. Right? It's also the possibility of receiving guidance and energy from a higher place. That higher place being the divine, our eternal selves. So that's the direction the knight is moving in. And what's on the mind of the knight who has disrobed and become vulnerable and is healing and is rediscovering hope and faith and good luck and success? Well, what's on the knight's, what is on the popess's mind as she rides out as the knight and she rides in the direction of the star, she discovers opportunity. The Ace of Coins. An opportunity that must be cultivated. It's not a fully formed opportunity to, wow, here are your millions, but an opportunity that must be cultivated. There's potential prosperity here. A new venture, potential rewards are here. But that's the direction she's moving in, he's moving in, they are moving in, that he, she, they being the papess. Where are you, papess? The papess, again, riding out as the Knight of Cups, moving in the direction of the star to this opportunity. And the King of Coins, the King of Coins, can be joined with them or can be split apart, because the King of Coins aspect of ourselves is so attached to security and prosperity, yes, and abundance, yes, but security and maintaining what is, and is not perhaps, and caution and conservative analysis, and we've got to work it out, we got to figure this out systematically, and is unable to open him, her, themselves to their inner papes of inner wisdom and the mysteries that are able to be revealed, and studying self and developing themselves, right? But joined, they become a very powerful entity that is able to really take grasp of this coin and develop it. This coin being this coin. This coin, right? So I guess in response to what is the central message of this week's larger spread, we get the idea that those splittings that are probably what is causing the fear of failure from the larger spread can be split here. And the cascade effect being the loss of that Ace of coins, the loss of the star, maybe even the loss of the Knight of Cups. Because we're so attached to the Four of Swords. Or we can join and receive the potential rewards that are available to us. Not by trying to defeat, conquer, or push past whatever our fear is, but rather by integrating self. And the advice for this spread is this. Balefire. You see the demons and the women, or the demons and the witches, perhaps, leaping over perhaps Sabbat fire. And the description for this card by Patrick Valenza, this is the Mildred Payne's Oracle of Dark Enchantment. This version is right now still out of print. There are two versions that are other colored and differently colored. There's a color, one that is black and red and one is black and blue, that are available. Same cards, just different color. But I'll bet you dollars to donuts that this edition will be reprinted in the future. I'll just bet you. Like next year, maybe, I don't know. I haven't heard any word, but that's my gut feeling. Anyways, this deck is wonderful. I like using it with my Tarot de Marseille, my Tarot de Marseille adjacent, and my Antique Italian decks. Mostly with Tarot de Marseille. But this card, again, is Balefire. And Patrick Valenza describes this as, in a moonlight ritual, the wicked couples leap together over the bonfire, celebrating their fertility and honoring nature. Purified by the roaring flames, they set off into the woods to produce new offspring. They're gonna right? They're going to make love in the woods to procreate, to create. So the meanings of this card, the light meanings, are eliminating negative energies, purification, a rite of passage, celebration and tradition, and also fiery passion and procreation. But the way to do that, to engage the fiery passion, to procreate, interestingly, the Prince of Cups was emphasized in the larger spread of this week. Prince of Cups is associated with Scorpio, which is also associated with sexuality and passion and and death. So those aspects are a little bit hinted at in this card as well. But in order to do that, we need to leap over the fire. We need to eliminate our negative energies. We need to purify. We want to purify. We want to eliminate our negative energies. Those things that are causing our fear. We don't want to push past the fear. We don't want to run away from it. We want to purify and unite. You could also see that here we have the wicked couple, right? The demon and the human woman being two aspects of self, united as they jump over the flames. Because it's that partially the disunity which I think is causing the difficulties that we were feeling in the larger spread, and also the potential difficulties indicated by this week's spread that we just walked through, right? The Five of Swords could be breaking apart the Papess and the King of Coins, or it could join them. And so this card is asking us to first join. Allow the two to join, then leap over the fire to purify, and then run off into the room, into the woods and create. And that's the advice for this week's spread. And it restates a little bit what the I Ching Oracle was, I think, pointing towards in the larger spread as well, which was abundance and retreat. Enjoy what is, retreat from anything that looks dangerous coming at us, sidestep the car careening out of control. Don't fight it. Step aside and assess where it is we are, what's going on. What is this fear that I'm feeling? Is it of something real, of a car coming at me, or is it something that I'm creating, a failure that I'm creating in my own mind that is helping me lose my own power? Yeah? So, get it together. The advice, get it together. And move forward. Move forward in the direction of opportunity and hope and opportunity. That's a long, if that were the title of this video, and it might just well be the title of this video, get it together and move in the direction of hope and opportunity. That could be the title of this video. It's a long-ass title, but anyways, friends, thank you for joining me on this exploration. And thank you for hitting the thumbs up button. It really does help the channel. I appreciate that. And also thank you for subscribing. If you have not subscribed, subscribe. And hit the alarm bell so you get notifications of when I upload videos. It will be helpful for you. If you want a reading from me, either Tarot de Marseille or Rider-Waite-Smith or Thoth, let me know in either the comments below or in the description box. I have my email address. Shoot me an email and we'll figure out a way to get you a reading. Okay? So there are many, many opportunities for you. And thank you. Thank you for being here. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.